I understood then that happiness wasn't simply a function of my mind. It was an embodiment of my entire self. It wasn't simply a destination. I had to manifest it through choice. I remember I came back home and I felt so energized, so excited that I had to share this with someone. So I called my mom. She'd be proud, she'd understand I was short. So I call her up and I tell her everything that's happened. And she responds with a very flat, "That's nice, Sergeant, but what about your preparations for Bain? And how did your chemical product design exam go? This happiness stuff is nice, but don't get sidetracked with it." So I politely hung up, because you should never argue with your mom. And I smiled. I could do it all. Happiness wasn't a sidetrack. It was the track. I just had to actively pursue it. I remember then that I got in a Groupon for a yoga studio, and I took it. Spare me, I get it. I'm a guy, I'm not supposed to like yoga. But damn it, LeBron does it. It's probably part of the Kobe system. I even convinced my roommate, Sean, to come. I used all my wit, charm, logic, also promised him a week's worth of Quiznos for free, and he decided he would come. We both made the time out for it. It was only 4 hours a week. We could make up for that in some way. But taking time out for our physical well-being wasn't a chore. It wasn't a bad thing. It was cathartic. It helped me focus, helped us focus. Yeah, Sean stuck it out. We joined Patty Eppley's studio, Mindful Intentions. Not only was Patty a great instructor, but her knowledge of Vedic philosophy energized me. Going to Patty's studio was fulfilling. Yeah, that's the word.
Well, I've come to realize that the goal of goals in our lives is happiness. And many people think that if I win the lottery, I'm going to be happy. If I get that relationship that I want, that guy or that girl, I'm going to be happy. If I gain success, I'm going to be happy. If I get that job, I'm going to be happy. When actually, it's the other way around. If I'm happy, I attract those special people into my life. And if I'm happy, I get success. If I'm happy, I'm healthier. So, what is this happiness? You know, why do so many of us rely on our positions and our possessions to make us happy, when really happiness is the main goal? So, when we think of happiness, happiness should come first, and everything else can follow. So why be happy? Is it, you know, what it's cracked up to be? Do you think you can find happiness in a pill? Well, in our society thinks we could cure just about anything with a pill. Antidepressant prescriptions are on the rise. 1 in 10 women actually take antidepressants. And that's a 400% increase than 2 decades ago. And in the age group between 40 and 59, all people in that age group, 23% are on antidepressants. So why not look at our inner pharmacy instead? What will happiness do for our inner pharmacy? Happiness actually changes the chemistry in our brain. It's natural euphoria. When we're happy, our brain produces dopamine, which is a natural antidepressant. Our brain produces serotonin, which brings about a sense of self-awareness, self-like. When we're happy, our brain produces opiates, which give us euphoria, give us a high. Our brain also produces oxytocin, which helps the pleasure in our life to be that much more pleasurable. So let's take a moment, and if everyone would just close their eyes for just a moment. And I'd like to ask you to bring your attention to an event in your life or something in your life where time stood still, where you felt that the whole universe was just orchestrating around this one event that was just especially for you. feel your body. How does your body react when recalling this event? Would you call it euphoria? So gently open your eyes. Some of us may have experienced this when, as a mother, holding our child for the first time, or as a young adult receiving that acceptance letter to CMU in the mail, or maybe the first time we saw that vastness of the ocean. It just took our breath away. And we all have something, some situation or some moment in our lives where that euphoria kicked in, that natural high, that pleasure scale just went off the roof. Well, that's pretty good stuff. And this kind of happiness comes with being in touch with your soul. Those moments of euphoria are actually called glimpsing the soul. Your soul is the only place which can orchestrate the synchronicity where everything in the universe is synchronistic with everything else. So if you're happy at the level of the soul, you attain that happiness and things come to you. When you're happy, you're healthier. When you're happy, you're more relaxed. When you're happy, you attract those relationships into your life rather than being dependent upon those positions and possessions in our lives that can go away in the blink of an eye. So if you're happy at the level of your soul, physiological changes happen, as well as emotional changes. You become more compassionate, and spiritual changes. So how do I become happy, this true happiness from the level of the soul? And one way to do that is through meditation. Meditation allows us to find that silence and stillness within that we can tap into and establish, bring back out this happiness that resonates throughout our body, throughout our mind, throughout our soul. There are so many studies out there. Modern Western science is really coming around to understanding the benefits of meditation. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, there are hundreds of studies. So if you Google meditation studies, you'll come up with hundreds. There's one I want to share with you today. It was done in October, November of 2010. It was done out of Massachusetts General, a study of 16 participants. It was an 8-week study. Brain scans or MRIs of the brain were done on the 16 participants before the study began. MRI, brain scans were done after the 8-week study. The participants, there were 16, they were taught mindfulness meditation, and they meditated once a day for 30 minutes for 8 weeks. What the brain scans showed is that after only 8 weeks of meditation, and they weren't meditating for hours and hours, they only meditated for 30 minutes once a day. What they found consistently for all 16 participants is that the hippocampus of the brain is the part of the brain that's responsible for happiness, for joy, for self-realization, compassion. That part of the brain grew. The amygdala part of the brain, which is the part of the brain that resonates with anxiety and stress, that actually shrunk. So through meditation, this study, all 16 participants, the magnificent part of their brain actually grew, and the not so magnificent shrunk. And we can all attain that through the practice of meditation. So these results are pretty amazing. There are many people in our lives today, as well as, just the Beatles, for example. They're not in our lives today, but in the 60s, they became very popular for embarking on that practice of meditation. Today, Oprah speaks openly about her practice of meditation. In fact, in her organization, Harpo Studios, she allows time every day for her employees to meditate. She feels that strongly about it. She's seen the benefits in her life. We see Ellen on American Express commercials meditating. Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, he began meditating and investing in studying the practices of the East when he was in high school and early years in college. In his first year of college, he discovered a book called The Autobiography of a Yogi. And he traveled to India in his early 20s, studied that book, read that book, and it said that he read that book once a year for every year of his life. In fact, that's the only book that was downloaded on his iPad too. So that says a whole lot for the practice of meditation. And artists and poets, they meditate for the inspiration. Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, both were known to practice various forms of meditation. It improves our ability to problem solve, and we're much more creative when we meditate. So really, what is meditation? You know, we've gotten so many different ideas about what meditation is. Well, our brains process thoughts 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day come in and out of our brain. That's one thought every 1.2 seconds. So our brains are constantly processing thoughts. And thoughts are something to celebrate. They're a sign that we're alive. They're a sign that we're healthy. But there's a point of stillness and silence in that gap between our thoughts. And in that point of stillness and silence is a full range of infinite possibilities, or pure potentiality. And if we can tap into that stillness and silence on a regular basis, we will bring that stillness and silence back out into the other 23 and a half hours of our day, and we're happier. And when we're happy, you know, we attract good things in our lives. And as Hari mentioned, the two drivers going through the Squirrel Hill tunnels, you know, two ingesting the very same situation, traffic jam in the Squirrel Hill tunnels, and two very different responses. The calm response was more than likely from someone who regularly meditates and brings that relaxation out into the rest of their day. So I began to meditate personally. I have children in college. We have college-age children. When I was in my early 20s, I picked up a book, and I became very interested in the practice of meditation. And I began to meditate in my early 20s. Then my positions and possessions were coming along at a pretty nice pace. I got a job, I got married, I had a house, cars, and children. And so this kept me busy, kept me happy on the surface. But I lost my daily practice of meditation. So what I was a crisis meditator. And things weren't going so well, you know, I got my cushion out and I started to meditate. Things got a little better, and I let my practice fall again. So I crisis meditated for years. And then one day, all of my positions and my possessions, and I mean all of them, my relationships, my most intimate relationships with my family, my job, successful career in corporate healthcare, my home, everything slipped away. It just slipped away. And I found myself in this dark hole of despair. And I didn't know what to do. Crisis meditation wasn't working. And so I took off for Whistler, Canada, decided to meditate with Deepak Chopra for a week, for 10 days. For Deepak Chopra, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, he's a physician, he's a renowned author, he's written over 60 books. He is a spiritual leader. And that experience changed my life. my heart opened up wider than it had ever opened before. I found a practice that I could truly apply to my life. And when I got back, this was 4 years ago now. When I got back, I maintained my daily practice of meditation. And talk about transformation. I let go of that need to be, that object-oriented happiness, that need to find my happiness through things and through positions and possessions. My family, my friends, they began to notice the difference. My relationships were getting better. I was becoming healthier mentally, physically. It was absolutely amazing. I thought, prior to that, I have to go to an ashram in India and meditate for a year. Or I needed some eat, pray, love experience. Where am I going to find that? Or I needed a guru. Where's my guru? My spiritual teacher. I need a guru. So after having done this practice for weeks after my return from my retreat with Deepak, I was sitting in meditation one day and I realized the guru is within. That it's been there all along. That everything we have that we need for happiness is within. Make sure we don't go over my time. So these aha moments can be had by anyone, all of us here. We have a perception of meditation. We learned what meditation is through movies. We've learned, Ace Ventura, the second Ace Ventura movie, we saw him meditating in the jungle and levitating with the guano and the monkey. We've read books. We have this idea of what we think meditation is. And there's a lot of myths around that meditation practice. Meditation, it's not a way to tune out. Sometimes we think, I'm going to meditate so I can tune all this out. But really, meditation is our way to tune in. Tune in to that stillness and silence. And some myths that have come up over time have been, okay, when I meditate, all of my thoughts should stop. And with 60 to 80,000 thoughts coming through our mind a day, we're not going to really be able to cease all of our thoughts. In fact, thoughts are part of our meditation. Thoughts are part of the fabric of our meditation. Now, we do want to try to quiet the mind, quiet the thoughts. We want to access that stillness, the gap. So we introduce something into our meditation, an object of our attention, like a mantra, or put our attention on our breath. And by doing this, we can gently drift from thoughts in our mind, sensations in our body, noises in the environment, gently drift to that breath or to that mantra. And this gentle drifting process is the process of meditation. So your thoughts, you shouldn't scold yourself if you have thoughts. You should celebrate, raise the roof, enjoy that you're alive. And then gently drift back to your breath, or gently drift back to your mantra. So meditation is this continuous drifting back and forth, gentle drifting back and forth. And we can all do that. Now, there are many meditation practices out there. And so you can take 3 months looking at them all, trying to find which one is the best fit for you. And that's fine. But today I'm going to teach you something towards the end of, in just a few minutes, practice that you can do here, you'll do here, and you'll take with you. You can start today. So that's the first myth. Clear your thoughts. Stop your thoughts. When really, celebrate your thoughts. The second myth in meditation that we've heard, and sometimes has caused us to maybe stop meditation, is that we're told that something transcendent is going to happen to me when I meditate. The Buddha's going to come. The Dalai Lama is going to come and help me. some transcendent experience is going to happen. And when that doesn't happen, we get discouraged. When really, meditation is about what happens in that 30 minutes or 20 minutes that you're meditating. But the beauty of meditation is what you bring out into those other 23 hours of your day. How do you feel? Are you happier? Are your relationships better? Are you more relaxed? Are you more compassionate? Are you attracting things into your life that you desire at the level of your soul? And the third myth that I want to share with you today, there are others, but these three I feel they helped me get beyond judging my practice so much. The third myth is I will become enlightened when I meditate. And the truth is, we were born enlightened. We were born pure, we were born perfect, and we were born enlightened. But from that moment we were born, the conditioning began. The doctors, the nurses, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our teachers, our bosses, even the barista at Starbucks. Layer upon layer upon layer of conditioning. We forgot that pure perfection within. So each time you meditate, you dip your fingers in, you dip your toes in to that beautiful stillness and silence that resides at the level of your soul. You get beyond that busy mind and ego and dip into that level of the soul, and each time you bring out maybe a tweezerful, maybe a thimbleful, maybe a dropperful of this pure perfection back into your life. So the question isn't, we shouldn't be asking ourselves, will I be enlightened if I meditate, or will I become enlightened? The question is, how do I feel now that I've been practicing meditation? Are my relationships better? Is my life better? Am I more compassionate? Am I healthier? We tend to make healthier choices. So again, the beauty and the power of meditation don't happen necessarily when you meditate, but in those other hours of your day. And gently, as we drift gently in meditation from our breath to our thoughts, gently these benefits weave themselves into our lives. Now find a place that's comfortable. Sit comfortably and close your eyes for a moment. Place your feet on the floor if you can, your hands in your lap. Just sit comfortably and close your eyes. And bring your attention to your breath. Following that breath in as it comes in through the nostrils, travels, filling up your lungs, filling up your belly as your belly rises, and then letting go of that breath. Just continuing with these long, slow, deep breaths. And notice at that point between the inhale and the exhale, just notice that point of silence, that point of stillness, that perfection, pure perfection, filled with infinite possibilities. And when you find a thought come into your mind, a sensation in your body, a noise in the environment, or perhaps you're anticipating something to happen, treat that as you would have thought. And with any of these things, just acknowledge them and gently drift back to your breath. Just gently drift back, keeping your attention on your breath, finding that silence and stillness. Just continue breathing for another moment. Now you can gently open your eyes and celebrate. You just meditate. It's as easy as that. So I encourage you to try this practice. Try for 21 days. 21 days. If you're doing it for 21 days, it becomes a habit. And I want to leave you with one final note. Gallup studies have been done, and they say that if you have one happy friend, your happiness goes up by 15%. If that happy friend has a happy friend, your happiness goes up by another 10%. So the more happy friends you have, the happier you are. So keep making happy friends. Thank you very much.
Wasn't that something? Every time I left Patty's studio, I had to spend an hour to let that experience simply just sink in. The environment, it was so calm, peaceful, serene, transcendent. But it wasn't just yoga, that's the thing. The more I started enacting happiness, if that's the right word for it at this point, the more engrossed in it I became. My life naturally realigned to fit my priorities, this sense of contentment and fulfillment highest on that list. I still did it all. It's not like my social life vanished. But taking a few moments during Shavasana at Patty's studio or playing tennis, yeah, picked up tennis again. Or 5 minutes of silence before I went to bed, that was enough. But you knew that was coming. It wasn't enough. It really wasn't enough. Sure, my passions had realigned. Yes, I was doing things that made me more content more often, but there was this duality to it. I wanted it to be constant. Dr. Nair had talked about this. Hardy had lived it. I felt that I was close, almost there, but I was missing something. This journey is mine, but I needed a sounding board. You know those friends of yours? You go to talk to them about something, and then 2 minutes into your conversation, they start talking to you about their own experience, something similar to what you're going through. And then 10 minutes later, they're still talking. Yeah, I needed the opposite of that. And I had that friend. And that's where I am. Full circle. Like I said, you caught me at a great time. I'm just on the way to see a friend of mine. I swear I'm on something. She'll know exactly what to say. This friend of mine, you might know her. Helen Wang. You know those friends that get you? You don't know what it is about them, but they get you. They're positive, upbeat, always there for you. And you know how you don't talk to them all the time? You only reserve them for when things aren't going great, when, I don't know, hypothetically speaking, Rachel breaks up with you, or you have 3 midterms and the BOC and TOC all in the same week. Yeah, that's me. So here I am, on the way to my go-to gal. And Helen would get me. She would know exactly what to say. She always did.
So, when I think about who I was at 18, 19, 20, here as an undergraduate at Carnegie Mellon, I have a very distinct memory of the kind of person that I was. I would say that people who knew me then would say I was a pretty happy person, because I really was. I felt safe and comfortable in this place that I called home, among friends that I called family, and I really seized every bit of my life here. I thought that life could never get better than these 4 years. But today, I can tell you without exaggeration that, friends, it gets even better. Okay? It gets so much better and fuller, and the vibrancy of life just jumps out at me every single day that sometimes I can't even bear it. Because life today is the eat the best cake of your life, wail out a song at the top of your lungs with the car windows down, cash in your free Razzie Fresh Car day, kind of love big, live big, laugh big, heart so full, don't wanna, can't do it, close my eyes, I'm so good, right? So at this moment, the happiest that I have ever truly been is where I stand in front of you. But I didn't get here by sipping my chai lattes, although I love those, while watching every feel-good movie I could find. Ironically, perhaps, my path to happiness was born from pain. So the question is it right to talk about pain when one is asked to speak about happiness? So here's my first thought on that. When we speak about our pain, not with our egos, the kind that desire to need to be at the center of things, but rather to start to share our pain to unlock the loneliness of others, to dispel the myth of one's own shame, to make discreet that person and their trauma, we say to those that we love that even if you've never experienced my pain, that you are not alone. And you are not your pain. And you're meant to rise above it. So each of us bears a story of pain that's a private thing, as if uttering it shows our weakness or our insufficiency. So you must hear me now if you hear nothing else. That when we give our story to the world, we celebrate in our common humanity. We create safe spaces for others to have their pain lifted off of them. And when we do that, we create happiness. So we let others breathe out choked words and buried feelings so that their true selves can come true. And when you are the clearest articulation of yourself, you are happiness. So my first assignment to you is to, right now in your mind, think about some pain that you hold and that you're afraid to speak about. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, got it? So what I have to say to that is that your pain doesn't define you. Your pain is the history of the development of you, and you have to be kind to it. You have to look at it. You have to give it some love, like watering a plant. You have to think about what it teaches you, and if you can, lay it to rest by writing it out or telling someone who matters to you. So thanks for going there for me. I know it's not easy, but if happiness is a matter of urgency, which I posit that it is, then we must find the courage to peel away the hurt that clouds our true selves. So you're going to help me do that here right now today. So I have an immigrant story that I'm sure some of you in the audience today may share yourselves. So at the age of 6, my parents did a really brave thing and moved us to a place where they believed they could offer their children better opportunity. I lived in a predominantly white area where I spoke no English, donned a really funny Beatles haircut, and according to my teachers at school, I would eat nothing in the cafeteria except for Elio's pizza. That was the only thing I would eat. Which is really sad because my mom packed amazing lunches, epic. Dried tofu, soy sauce chicken, pickled vegetables, steamed rice, and sometimes it was ginger fish or squid rings, or my favorite, curry. My mom makes the most unbelievable curry. So, and people, if you know me, I like to eat. Okay, me and food, BFFs. So lunch should have been something that I looked forward to. Instead, it was met with dread because the moment I opened my bento box, I knew what was coming. Ew, what was that? That is so gross. Your food looks weird. And so I learned at a young age to be ashamed of my culture through my beautiful lunches. I shoveled my food as quickly as I could so as not to offend, so as not to be embarrassed. And sometimes I didn't even eat at all. At some point in my acculturation, my sisters and I must have talked to my mom about what lunchtime at the cafeteria was like for me, because we made some sort of, I can't even remember when it happened, some transition where it became turkey sandwiches, juice box, wheat thins in a brown paper bag. Thank God. Normal, not smelly, blend in, don't stand out. My turkey sandwich taught me how to erase my ethnicity, to perform for others an acceptable version of myself. So it took some time, some good role models, and mostly a really healthy dose of growing up to realize what I was doing. And I was denying a really big part of who I am. So I quit that nonsense, and I rock out Asian. I am so happy to enjoy my ethnicity, to share it with others, to laugh about the absurdity of stereotypes, and to create new habits that were more than what I thought people were expecting of me. Because I grew up being in the habit of pushing my Asian American identity down. My work here was to learn how to blow it back up. And it's not easy as a young person to be physically marked as racially different, knowing that that is the very first thing that people see when they see me. So my habit now, simply to relax. I find contexts that help me express and explore my ethnicity and articulate my story with others. Happiness law, you have to be bold about yourself. Be unapologetic about who you are and your history, and tell your stories to others with pride. And when you witness difference around you, consider whether it is that difference or your perspective, that is the foreign one. So being in the habit of happiness means that it's a repeated and conscious choice to reflect, exude, pronounce joy in our everyday lives. From the moment we wake up until the moment our head hits the pillow, we have a choice to see joy where it might be easier to see hate, anger, or suffering. And every time we choose to act from that place of happiness, which was in my case, to stop eating those damn turkey sandwiches and to get crazy with my Taiwanese self, I made a choice to be more me, right? More authentic, more relaxed, more vulnerable. I choose to be more effortless, and that leads me to another idea, that happiness is when we can be the most effortless version of ourselves. Now, I don't mean lazy. I just mean not striving to be anything other than that which we already are right now. You know, we walk in this world as if there's something about us that needs to be fixed. And so we trim off the interesting edges of our authentic selves as if it was tattered and embarrassing. And then we put back into it a shinier, polished, saccharine version, appropriate for popular consumption, but that has no meaning. You know, we walk in the world as if we are broken when really everything that we have is more than enough. You know, everything that you have right now is enough. You know, but that's a really hard thing to realize, that we are enough. Because there are times in our lives that we are tested so much that it's hard to see that. So before making the best choice of my life, moving back to Pittsburgh, I was so unhappy. I was living in the big city, yes. There was culture and incredible opportunities and experiences around me, but I was so lost. You know, life had just ripped my heart out and trampled all over it in a way I thought was just completely irreparable. You know, it took me so long to understand and to see what happened to me, and it was so hard to get to know myself again. I fell into great despair that I didn't think I could rise from. But you know what? You do. You work hard for it. You find a way. You start to listen to your heart, and much later, you learn to become much more comfortable with yourself. So, with a lot of love, I'm proud to say that I was able to do that. And if this is your story, you will as well. Still, I have this feeling that in order to really find my happiness, I would need to change my context. So here's what I did. I thought back to the last time I felt really happy. True, plain happy. And it brought me here, back to Carnegie Mellon, to do this amazing work that I get the honor of doing every single day. You know, I changed my context to better align with my best self because I refused to be defined by my pain. You know, I looked for the self that I knew that I was proud of, and that made sense to me, and it felt effortless for me to be here. I was in a place in my life so grateful for the wisdom that came in my healing that I wanted to give back as big and as boldly as I could to those around me. Changing my context made all the difference. But it wasn't just the physicality of the place, but the context of my thinking. I chose to exist in a place that was, for me, bright and full of possibility, energetic and fun. And when I found that space for me, I came to life. I changed my pain for wisdom, and quite literally, happiness swept over me and became my perspective, became my method, became my purpose. So, right now with me, I want you to think about your happiness context. You know, what are the elements of a space that allows you to project your best self? What are the surrounding contexts that allows you to be happy? Hold that in your mind, feel it in your heart, and go out and create that. You know, be flexible with your context, but truly creative with what you have. My last story is a recent one, but it's an important one because it is ironically the reason why life is so good today. So the last few days have been really difficult. You know, after an unbelievable 14-hour stint in the hospital with a student, I came home very depleted to an email from my advisor that we would need to talk about my dissertation progress. There was a meeting to be held on Tuesday where the fate of my PhD candidacy was going to be decided. You know, in my mind, I was making good progress, working as hard as I could towards some April deadline, so the message was both confusing and incredibly alarming. So all details aside, I received an email from my program that I would be dropped as a graduate student because my request for an extension was denied. The night before I heard this, my partner and I talked all night about this, and truly in my heart, I was ready for anything. If I was given a year, I would get it done, buckle down, however I needed to do it. If I was not, that which I tabled for so long could be realized. You know, at the end of the day, I was even thinking to myself, do I even want this anymore? Imagine what I could do if I didn't have to do this. Thinking of the possibility was so freeing, I thought just about calling it quits. And then again, I never quit things. This is a problem. Seriously, I don't know how to do this. I'm stubborn and I have a work ethic that drives people around me nuts. But, you know, this thing that lost meaning for me so long ago is still around. And if I'm honest with myself, I don't know if it was something that I really wanted. And that's a scary thought. When you have these moments in your life, the things that you work for may not be where you should be. My life today, who I am, what I do matters. That resonates, you know, and as I reflect on everything that I am proud of and that I find purposeful, it has nothing to do with my dissertation or my graduate school, for that matter. It was always about connections to story, love and faith in people, and these are the moments that I treasure and that I am drawn to. So my better half, in his protective nature, notes that there is a lack of grace in the delivery, perhaps, and most certainly a long history of haphazard and absent advising from my program. And you know, I think he's right, but I can't change that history, you know? And living my dreams and my adventures, in living my dreams and adventure, I too most definitely own the clunkiness of my academic journey. I made big choices that drew me away from the program, but they are choices that have defined who I am today. They are choices that make me happy. And on a side note, if you have people in your life who rally for you in this way, and if you are like me and you don't get angry, you must love those people. They're important. You must think about what they're saying to you. So what I feel today, quite honestly, is a lot. I feel a sense of loss for my program, my project. But more than anything, I feel free. You know, that's information. I realize that I am free to do the things in my life now that I love and that I have put off for a while. I have so much to do and I'm so excited about it all. Like, this is gonna be my write my book, go to dinner, make visits home, become a culinary badass, tear it up like a bear kind of year. And well, I might have already gotten started on that. So what makes me happiest today is that I have no regrets, none at all. And if I were to do it all over again, I would do it exactly like this, because I grew up, found myself, fell into a way of being that I am proud of, learned how to fall and rise up again, and discovered the wisdom of my wandering, that it was my true self aching to be free. So Don thinks I should go through the stages of my mourning here, and he may be right. But when I am clear, all I can feel is a sense of possibility, of new doors to open, new adventures to take, big ideas to dream, a lot of laughter to have, and that's a really great thing. And so finally, my point, as you so patiently listen to me, is this: that when you have joy, everything is irrelevant. I take you through these stories so that you will understand me, but perhaps more importantly, that you will understand you. That you should never give up on you. You know, you have to find out what matters to you and you go there. And when it doesn't feel right, you listen. Wandering, if you are happy, is information. It could be your truest self masquerading as a divergence. And somewhere along my journey, and I can't figure out when, I learned to become an agile person, which I think is what made the last few days kind of okay. Because when one door closes, another opens, if you are steady enough to see it. As happy as I am now, I have even greater happiness ahead of me, and I can't wait. All I feel now is a sense of possibility, time regained, amazing new things to be achieved, and I can barely get myself to sleep at night. I am so excited to live life with a happy, full heart. And when you feel this way in your life, you cannot help it, at least I cannot help it, but to let it spill over. So let it. You know, my final challenge to you is this. Go and articulate your happiness. Share your love with others unabashedly, every day. Speak it from the truest place that you know, and don't worry about what it sounds like, because it is good and it must be spoken. So it's a matter of urgency, this happiness project, because each of you is meant to be the most joyous version of yourself. Don't worry or regret, lament or struggle. We have the greatest purpose of all, the most important charge, to live a full, profoundly joyful life. Thank you so much for listening to me. Here's to possibility, adventure, and happiness.
How could I be anything but happy after that? I thought I needed a friend, a sounding board, but really I just needed to talk to Helen. She reminded me that I needed to be a child to be my happiest self. I tried out what she said, and man, it's funny, this is what I remember from my senior year. Not my successes, my tests, my failures, some nights inebriated, others spent surfing the web. This trumps them all. Do I have memories? Yeah, sure. But this? It's crazy. Am I happy? Yeah. I walked you through my journey, my experience with my life. I know that some of you are skeptical and you have every right to be. I like black and white, remember? Either it makes sense or it doesn't. But sometimes, the gray in life compels you to act. I broke up with my girlfriend, stumbled upon a video, met a random postdoctorate, went to an event I would have otherwise never heard about, joined a yoga studio, and in the end, I came back to a friend. How cheesy is this story? I searched here and there, everywhere else, but finally, I came back to a friend, one that I'd reserved for when things weren't sunny, weren't beautiful, and eventually, the happiness that I so longingly coveted, it was in here. This is the illusion that I live in. This is the illusion that we live in. Is this too fantastic for your taste, perhaps? But this is my life, the way things played out. I took a bit of my time to be reflective, and what I saw was discontent. Despite having everything, discontent. And I wanted to be content, to be happy. Isn't that what we all want? Happiness is the reason for my being. It manifested itself as a journey within. I had to choose my perspective. And when I did, my paradigm shifted and my outlook shifted. The essence of life, for me at least, is love. Pure, unconditional love for myself. And the essence of that love, well, it's vulnerability. I had to have the guts to open myself to all the bad and good that I would see. And the essence of that vulnerability is courage. I had to be courageous. I couldn't do it otherwise. And I was courageous. I joined a yoga studio, remember? And the essence of that courage, well, it's love. Cyclical, I know, sensical perhaps, fantastic maybe. Am I happy? Yes. This is my journey, not yours. But the beauty about this odyssey is that there are commonalities, themes, if you will, that emerge. Am I there? Far from. There's always more and nothing more. It's all in here. Am I happy? Yes.
Let's have another round of applause for all of our speakers. On behalf of all of us involved with OMAX, I want to thank each of our speakers from the bottom of our hearts for contributing to this event. We now want to take a few moments to thank everyone else who made this event possible. The following are our gold tier sponsors: Carnegie Mellon Student Senate, Gina Castellano, Dr. Jared Cohen, Mansi Kumar, and Michael Murphy.
Particularly, we'd like to thank Gina Castellano for all of her support. Our novel event could not have been possible without it. In addition, we'd like to thank Dr. Kunal Ghosh, the faculty advisor for both OM and OMX, for all of his confidence in our work. Dr. Ghosh, we truly appreciate everything that you do.
This event certainly would not have been possible without the dedication and hard work of the OMX board. This board has been phenomenal, and we've been so fortunate to be working with a group so committed to the OMX vision. Even now, they're running around the Carnegie Music Hall, making sure this event concludes smoothly. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank them, and we'd like a moment to recognize them. Please, a round of applause for the OMX board.
Ultimately, this event is bigger than all of us. As you may know, our proceeds go to Eko Vidyalaya, a non-for-profit organization that makes education accessible for poverty-stricken youth in India. The organization sets up Eko Vidyalayas, or single-teacher schools, with training educated youth as teachers. Each dollar that you contribute to Eko funds a school for a day. We're really excited to be partnering with them, with OMX, and we hope that you'll contribute to this amazing cause. Please visit www.aco.org for more information.
Now, we'd like to bring this event to a conclusion by offering you 6 unique pieces of OMX to take away. To do this, let's bring all our speakers back.
In your pursuit of happiness, give yourself permission to be human, focus on the positive, incorporate gratitude into your life, and if all else fails, don't worry, be happy.
Happiness lies within you, therefore arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Happiness is a process, it's a quest. Happiness is a verb, not a noun.
Dance is unique because happiness emanates not only within the performer, but also through the audience. Happiness is dance.
If you have a meditation practice, keep it going. If you're a crisis meditator or don't have a practice, do it for 21 days and continue adding to that magnificent collective consciousness of happiness by making a new happy friend, and as importantly, be a happy friend.
So find what matters and go there. And if there's joy, then everything else is irrelevant.
We hope that you've enjoyed the OMX experience today. We trust that you'll carry it in your daily lives. Thanks so much for attending. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much.